every choice has good behind the door. Divine intelligence, perfection, love, order, joy, all of those God quality words, they're behind every door. As you may know, earlier this week I did a tiny bit of traveling as I went up to pick up our new rescue dog, Abby. So in case you're wondering, we're all a little sleep deprived at our house, as all new dog parents understand, but Abby's settling in pretty nicely with Maisie. But I want to talk about the travel part. I could talk about Abby all day. And by the way, let me show you pictures if possible. But I want to talk about the travel part because travel is always like fun for me. And even with flight delays and rental car snafus and my planned schedule getting all scrambled up, I really love travel. So what I've realized is that whenever I am traveling, I encounter quite a few people that I either don't see very often, and I also meet people like for the first time. And this time when I was on the flight from Tampa to Atlanta, I got to sit next to this hunk of a guy. He was awesome. He was really, really cute. He was here. He was here on a visa from Great Britain, and as we talked about his work here, he's a civil engineer, and he was trying to make a decision about whether he should make a commitment to stay long enough to get a green card, or should he just go back home to England. And it's really interesting. But what I realize is that no matter where I go, I run into people who are working on the same kinds of life themes and issues and lessons that I have in my own life experiences and you have in yours. And it may not be like immigration issues like that, but change nonetheless, big choices to make. Think about it. There are people who are dealing with health issues, like a new diagnosis or a new treatment or medication or weight loss strategies or ups and downs and those kinds of things. There are family things going on, like a new child or getting ready for a new school year, trying to get into a college, a dispute between members of an extended family or trying to get an estranged family member back into the fold, right? So the decision to get engaged or celebrate an anniversary or all these stuff. And then there's similar friend things going on, like an argument that gets kind of out of hand or a conversation of disrespect or birthday to celebrate or a kind gesture that's being made. And then there's career changes, right? We got, financial snags and windfalls and career moves, and there are always boxes to pack and unpack and moves to make. It's just life, right? It's just life. And it all looks quite similar no matter where I go. And I know it's all normal because I like to say that no matter what experience you're having, it's a normal human experience. You can't have anything but normal human experiences. Even if you've never had it, someone else has. Nothing special is going on. Remember that? You're not special. You're not special. The details might be different, yes, but for the most part, life is life. And all of the twists and turns that we go through make up this experience we're having on the physical plane. And maybe it's because I'm a minister and I'm often asked for spiritual perspectives, and I'm often asked for prayer, right? Once I introduce myself as a minister, or if I tell people that's the role I play in life, I get things like, will you pray for me for whatever I'm going through or for that thing that I'm wanting or whatever. I get asked for prayer. Basically, you come to a minister, you ask for prayer. It's what I do, right? And given all the prayers that could be prayed, as I list all the various stuff going on in our lives, what do we even pray for? Where do we even start? When I'm teaching, even in our vision board, this class, this week, we talked about taking the time to identify the purpose or the quality of God that we want to experience in this life situation or that situation. And that might baffle you as much as it baffled me, because when I first heard, what is the God quality that I want to experience? What do you mean, a purpose or a quality of God? What do you mean? Aren't I supposed to just pray for the thing that I want to happen, or the thing that I want, or what I don't want to happen, or I want to go away? Isn't that what I'm going to be praying for, Reverend Laine? Or can I just pray for a new thought that will make this whole situation different? Well, in a word, yes, you can pray for that. You can do an affirmative prayer or treatment that's focused on a particular outcome you're desiring. But I don't know that those types of prayers are the most effective. Let me explain. So often, when we're naming the specific outcome that we desire, we ourselves are filled with reasonable doubt that our lives can change course to that degree, or we doubt that the thing that would make the biggest difference is within the realm of our perceived possibility. The particular thing that we want is not already a part of our experience because of that very doubt of its possibility. You see the circle there. So we kind of already know that what we're praying for, what we want, we already consider to be a miracle, because that's why we turn to prayer, right? See what I'm saying? So I often encourage people to identify a quality of God that would make a difference in that experience of your life. If you could remember that peace is your birthright, that love is everywhere present, or that harmony is the natural state of all relationships, or abundance is the truth of the universe. If you could remember all those big concepts, would that make a difference in your journey in the particular situation you're thinking of? And then the purpose of your prayer becomes invoking one of the qualities of God that already exists to be more evident in your experience, in your awareness, in your mind, in your heart, and your life. That's why we tried to find symbols of those words to put on our vision board. Some of you actually cut out the words themselves and put them on the board, because even though they were pictures of things, they represented the words, the qualities of God that we wanted in our experience. And the thing that we most often need is greater faith that God is at hand, that word is a part of us and we can outpicture in our situation. I don't know about you, but I have a dodgy relationship with the word faith. Right? Faith is a really triggery word for me. I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian home, as most of you know, probably like many of you, and whenever I had questions about what I was being taught or how things were explained theologically, I was told that I've just simply got to have faith. Or in other words, no questions allowed. Just take it on faith, even when things didn't make sense to me at all. It's all about faith. Because this faith that I was being asked for was blind faith, or just simply trust what we tell you. And that didn't go over very well for me. And I resisted the entire religious scene for many years as an adult, probably because of that word, faith. So finding science of mind, finding this philosophy, this teaching, it has taught me more about the faith that I think we should be praying for. And that is faith in the spiritual laws, faith in how the universe makes sense, and that these laws are applicable in all areas of my life. And I think living in faith has many benefits, especially when I'm having all of these normal life experiences and big choices to make. So before I had spiritual principles and laws, I kind of felt frozen in a lot of my decisions. Kind of like the guy on the plane that was struggling between, should I go back to England? Should I stay here? Should I get my green card? What should I do? Just big decisions to make. And I don't know about you, but I what if a scenario to death. And I often still refuse to make a decision, right? I'm sure you can relate, because there are just certain big decisions in life that I commonly find myself stuck in, and you probably feel stuck in too. So many of the normal human experiences I talked about involve making decisions that need to be made, right? Decisions, big decisions. It's those big choices in life that just stop us in our tracks. And you may have heard me talk about this analogy before, but I believe what scarred us all for life was the TV show Let's Make a Deal. By a show of hands, how many of you watched the classic Let's Make a Deal from the, oh, good, okay. So I know there's an updated version on TV right now. I know that. But the original version was very colorful and entertaining for those of us who are old enough to have watched the original. And for those of you who never saw it, let me explain a little bit about how this game worked so you can understand how it messed us all up. Okay? First of all, there's a very big audience, and it's full of elaborately dressed, costumed, ostentatiously dressed people, because they were dressed that way because they were trying to get the attention of the host, Monty Hall. Not Monty Python, Monty Hall. So Monty would ask the audience if anyone in the room had something completely random, like a yo-yo. Okay? And miraculously, someone in the audience in their big bag of random treasures would find a yo-yo. I have one. And then he would run over there, and they would be the identified contestant. Okay, so then Monty Hall would ask them, would you like to trade your yo-yo for something better? Remember this? And then there would be Munch jumping up and down. Everybody was so excited, and they screamed, yes, yes, I would love to get rid of this yo-yo. And then Monty Hall would give them a choice of choosing what was behind door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. Now, let's just say the contestant selected door number 1, all right? And door number 1 would open, and it would reveal a brand new washer and dryer, usually in some like olive colored green or something, right? And there would be more jumping up and down, not only by the contestant, but everybody would be so excited. I'm not quite sure why a washer and dryer was that great of a prize, but back then it was absolutely the best thing in the world. And then to make things more dramatic, he would ask that contestant, now, would you like to trade this brand new washer and dryer for what's behind door number 2 or door number 3? Now the contestant had a dilemma, didn't they? Should they trade this perfectly good washer and dryer for the chance for something even grander, right? Because regardless of whether they kept the prize from door number 1 or they went on to select something else, the show would always reveal what was behind the other 2 doors. Now, let's say behind door number 2 was a trip to Ireland and a new car, okay? Wow, that was really exciting. And the contestant was always devastated if they hadn't picked that door, if they had kept their washer and dryer. But behind door number 3 was a billy goat. Now, can you make the sound? Wah, wah, wah. Thank you, right? What a disappointment that was, especially if they had traded their washer and dryer for that horrible, embarrassing choice, right? And as a young girl, I would sit there in my living room and I would scream. I would yell at the TV what I thought they should do. Pick a new door. Keep your washer and dryer. Don't trade. You know, watching that show taught me a few things. Number 1, first of all, it taught me that everyone has an opinion about what choice you should make in life. Even little girls sitting far away from your current situation. Everyone has an opinion, and they're going to scream it in your general direction, right? They are no more informed than you are, but they really want you to pick this door or that door. And when you have a big decision to make, it's easy to listen to the audience rather than to listen to your own instincts and your inner voice. Can you relate to that? Right? Sometimes if you give your choosing power to someone else, then we have someone else to blame if we pick something that's disappointing, right? Another big lesson Let's Make a Deal taught me, and many others, is that you just settle for what's good enough and not risk anything once you had something better than your yo-yo, right? And I think this has played out in my life and your life many, many times. Making a new choice in life can be very risky. It sounds something like this. Well, what if the new job is not better than the one I have now? Or what if the new boss is worse? Or what if the new company goes under right after I'm hired and I get laid off? Or what if I get out of this dead-end relationship and I never meet anyone else? Or what if my parents get to say they were right about this dead-end relationship? And what if the new city feels lonely? And what if I select this treatment path with my doctor, but then the other one might have had better results? Get the idea? We can what if ourselves right into staying with a situation that is no longer feeding us, but is just good enough. Good enough is often the very thing that blocks us from doing the work to improve our circumstances. And the third lesson Let's Make a Deal taught me was that just when you think you are finished choosing, another choice needs to be made. Life doesn't let you ever finish choosing, because there will always be another option to consider, another door to wonder what is behind, right? And this teaching set me free from my let's make a deal mindset. I can experience these choices from a different perspective or consciousness. And I have certainly had all three types of door experiences before finding Science of Mind and afterwards. There have been many times along the way when I've been holding my little yo-yo and hoping for something much better, and I have gotten the good enough door number one experience. Things turn out okay. I'm neither thrilled nor disappointed. Relationships have just been so-so. The job has paid the bills but didn't lead to anything much better. Things like that. Those are like door number one experiences. And I've also had made choices that led to door number two experiences, or unexpected windfalls or opportunities that seem almost too good to be true. Vacations to Ireland that are so satisfying, or a career that just kept unfolding and unfolding into better and greater success, or relationships that felt like home. Life is just going really well when you end up behind door number two. But guess what? I've had some door number three experiences too. And without my current consciousness, those door number three experiences were pretty scary. Relationships that failed miserably, jobs that were almost painful, friendships that end up in betrayal, vacations that get ruined by an unexpected storm that delays your flight 3 hours, which makes you get the dog really late. But at any rate, those door number three experiences are hard. So let me tell you about a big billy goat experience in my life and how it helped me. So in my late 20s, I chose to become a parent, a typical milestone in life for any young adult, pretty normal. And I was so excited to be pregnant and thrilled about the adventures I was going to have as a mom. However, as you know, my daughter was born with severe physical challenges. She had a 3-chambered heart and an incomplete spine, to be specific. And at first glance, this looked like a terrifying result. She was so medically fragile, and for so many weeks I was kind of lost in a hospital maze, just trying to survive this unexpected turn of events. Definitely, parents around me thought I had gotten a billy goat, a door number three experience. But the next choice I had to make, because there's always a next choice, the next choice I had to make was how to respond. I had a friend who had fought and sued when her special needs baby was born. And again, people around me were encouraging me to fight and sue too. Everyone had an opinion about that. Trust me. But for some reason, that just didn't feel right to me. I knew that I couldn't fully accept and embrace my daughter if I was motivated in my daily existence with the energy to fight and sue. So I decided to settle into the love of my daughter instead. And parenting Kelsey and facing her mortality over and over and celebrating all of her milestones of progress actually led me to spirituality. I found a higher perspective in life, and I also found greater personal strength. My relationships became more precious and more grounded in honesty and vulnerability. And eventually I realized I wouldn't have traded my special daughter for a more typical healthy daughter, because my life would not have been as transformative. And what I realize now is that my billy goat experience is kind of typical, because it's the challenging parts of our lives that grow us up. that evolve us, that make us stronger. But is all of this awareness in alignment with this philosophy? Let's talk about that. What would Ernest Holmes have to say about let's make a deal? Let's take a moment and think about the three big things he taught. The first thing he taught is that God is all there is. Every choice has good behind the door. Divine intelligence, perfection, love, order, joy, all of those God quality words, they're behind every door. To the degree that we seek to express those qualities of God in all things, we can expect to receive them. No matter what door you end up choosing, look for the evidence of God on the other side of the threshold, because it's there for you to find it. The second thing Ernest Holmes talked about is the concept of co-creation. Our consciousness, our perspective, our awareness, our expectations, our consciousness brought us to this moment of choice. And behind every door is an outpicturing of that consciousness. Our soul's lessons lie behind the choices, so there is no wrong choice. There are things to be learned behind the door that leads to just everyday, typical washer and dryer kind of experiences. There are things to be learned behind the door of choice that leads to amazing, almost miraculous experiences. And there are things to be learned behind the door that leads to personal challenges and disappointment and growth. The third big concept that Ernest Holmes taught is that of unity. Whatever is behind the door is us. We are behind the door, behind every door. We are in every relationship, every career, every move, every diagnosis. How we treat that which is behind the door we experience is how we will be treated. If we are miserable behind the door, we will experience misery. If we are grateful, we will experience more and more things to have gratitude for. If we are afraid, we will have more things to fear. And that the entire human race, the entire universe is experiencing life with us. We're never alone in any of it. And when we can remember that, we can turn things into something for us. And it turns us back to the fourth thing that Ernest Holmes taught, the power of prayer. Spiritual mind treatment is always available to us, and it is this prescribed method of changing our life circumstances. And now we've come full circle, haven't we? What do we pray for? What is the purpose of our prayer? I encourage you to pray every time you pray for faith and wisdom, for spiritual guidance in your decision making, for poise in your mind as you make the choice that you need to make. But make the choice. See, life's going to continue to be normal. It's going to continue to bring challenges and situations. They're going to continue to arise day after day after day. And sometimes you're going to have door number 1 situations, and sometimes you're going to have door number 2 situations. And what I find is that most of us spend our prayer time praying for door number 2 results in all of our experiences. We pray to wake up in Ireland or in the arms of a strong, good-looking guy from Britain, or the job with the biggest paycheck, or whatever ultimate good we can name. We are praying to have our vision board experiences. Most of us are praying not to have door number 3 experiences, to avoid the challenges that normal life brings. But instead, I encourage you to pray for the God qualities to lead you through all the doors, all the experiences. I encourage you to surrender to your own consciousness, to the God within, to lead you to your highest and best outcomes. You're constantly offering up your yo-yos, so to speak. So do so with courage and pray for the consciousness of faith to know that all is well. Will you pray with me now? I take a breath. And I remember that God is behind every door, because I am behind every door. And I know that is my truth, and I know that is the truth for each person hearing this prayer this morning. I know that standing in the truth of my spiritual identity, I have faith that I can move through whatever normal life experiences that are ahead on the road for me. And I know that for each person here, that we have faith and courage to reach out and choose the doors that make the most sense at the moment, knowing that we are never alone. And so with gratitude for the opportunity to teach and for this community that holds me and holds everyone here, I am very, very grateful. I let it go. I let it be. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you.